Hello, my lovelies! My name is Lecka, and today we are going to be going over a Utopia deck that will be able to take down your opponents and have a very fun time doing all the Xyz combinations with this deck. It's super duper fun, and I'm hoping that you guys are going to enjoy it. Make sure before this video gets too far that you guys go ahead and lick that like button and subscribe, because they taste delicious, and I appreciate every single one of you guys that does so. We recently got over 1,000 subscribers, and now we are on our road to 10,000, so every single one of y'all helps out in that endeavor. But without taking up any more y'all's time, let's go ahead and get on into the deck list. So to start off here, we have Effect Veiler that we are going to just be using as a hand trap to prevent our opponents from doing any effect things. Same with Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring to prevent them from being able to make moves as a hand trap in our hand. The next one we're going to have is Utopic Onomatopoeia, which is a really, really nice card to have in this deck. You want to make sure you're running 3 of those. It makes it so that during the main phase, you can special summon up to 1 each of Zubababa, Gagaga, Gogogo, and or Dododo monsters from your hand in defense position. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the term except for Xyz monsters. So it lets you special summon Zubababa Bancho, Gagaga Coat. It lets you summon Dododo Dwarf and Go Glove. It lets you do some wonderful combinations with those so that you can actually get out your Utopia monsters without having too much issue. We have Coat and we have Glove in here because we want it to pair very nicely synergistically with Onomatopoeia, with Utopic over here, and because they also have their own things as well, where if you don't happen to open up with Onomatopoeia, you can go ahead and still get them onto the field. If you control a Zubaba or Gagaga monster except Gagaga Goat, while this card is in your hand, you can special summon this card, which is very nice. You can also target one Gogogo or Dododo monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except for Xyz monsters, which all of our ones in here, except for one, are Xyz monsters, so it works out really well. Go Glove does a similar thing where it says you can special summon a Zubaba or Gagaga monster from your hand. If you control a Go or Dododo monster except for Glove, while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field, which still allows you to get cards from your graveyard back onto the field so you can have materials to Xyz summon with. The next monster that we have here is going to be ZS Armed Sage, which makes it so that if there's only one, if the only monster you control is a level 4 or lower monster not named ZS Armed Sage, you can special summon this card from your hand. A Utopia Xyz monster that was summoned with this card gains the added effect of adding 1 ZW monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of ZS Armed Sage once per turn, which is really nice, and a very similar effect goes on with the ZS Ascended Sage here. So this one is Armed Sage, this one is Ascended. If you control no cards, you can special summon this card, and then that works very well on the field because you can special summon Ascended Sage, and then you can special summon this one onto the field after this one's already there because it lets itself get special summoned all without having to do a normal summon for that turn, which is super nice. This one makes it so that if a Utopia card is made with this card, you get to add 1 Rank Up Magic normal spell from your deck to your hand, which is also really, really nice. We have 1 Astrolopia in here because if you have an Xyz monster on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. And you can also send 1 other card from your hand or field to the graveyard to add an Xyz, Onomat, Zexal, or Number spell trap card from your deck to your hand, which is really nice because it lets you search for something that you're missing if you need it. But because it's not as good as the other cards in here, we only run 1 because that's really all we need. We also have a ZW Tornado Bringer because this is going to be equipped to your Xyz monsters in your extra deck. Same with ZW Pegasus Twin Saber. Both of these are searchable because of ZS Ascended Sage's effects and because of Armed Sage's effects. They're able to be found and brought to the top of the deck or just brought onto the field in general to be attached to the cards, which is super nice. So we run 1 each of those because they're easily found. We have a Harpy's Feather Duster to destroy our opponent's spell and trap cards. We have Reinforcements of the Army so that we can grab a Onomatopoeia if we need to, or we could grab Coat if we wanted to. Armed Sage and Ascended Sage are also all warrior monsters, so it pairs really well with this deck. We are running 3 Onomatopoeias because you can only activate 1 of these per turn, but they're so good because it lets you send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, and then you can add up to 2 monsters from your deck to your hand that have Zubaba, Gagaga, Gogogo, or Dododo into your hand. So the synergy that this card has with this deck is insane because it gives you a 2-for-1, which is amazing. We are running 3 of the Rank Up Magical Zexal Force because it lets you target an Xyz monster you control, like Utopia, and lets you special summon from the extra deck 1 Utopia or ZW monster that is 1 rank higher than the monster you control by using it as material. And if you do, you get to take 1 ZW or ZS monster from your deck and place it on the top of your deck, which is great. If your opponent's life points are at least 2,000 higher than yours, you can banish this card from your graveyard and draw 1 card, which is also really nice to have. We have 2 Zexal constructions in here, which lets you reveal 1 card in your hand, and if you do, you get to add one of the following cards from your deck to your hand. That's a Z, a W, ZS, Zexal, rank up, or rank down magic spell. So we're able to get our Ascended Sage and our Armed Sage into our hands much more easily. We have 1 hyper rank up magic spell in here, just in case we need to be able to rank up a Utopia into a Dragonair, so that we can, or Dragon Rare, Dragonar. I just think Dragonair from Pokemon. But we can use that card to do that. We can also just use the effect of Utopia Double to get Dragonar out, but it's kind of, we just want to have one in there to cover our bases just in case. We have 2 Xyz change tactics in here, where when a Utopia monster is Xyz summoned to your field, you can pay 500 life points and draw a card, which is amazing because we are going to be getting Xyz monsters out onto the field regularly, so if you can draw tactics, it makes it really nice to have more cards in your hand with. Onomata Pickup makes it so that if you somehow didn't draw an Onomatopoeia, you can search your deck for Onomatopoeia and put it into your hand, which is great. You can also look for other monsters that fit the whole Onomatopoeia thing as well, but you don't have to. We have 1 double or nothing in here, specifically because of Utopia Double's effect, which we'll get to in a second. Called by the Grave makes it so that we can prevent other people's hand traps from coming and affecting us, which is exactly what we are going to use it for. We're also going to have Infinite Impermanence in here as a good trap card that lets you target one face-up monster your opponent controls and negate its effects. Then if this card was set before activation and is on the field at the resolution, for the rest of this turn, all other spell/trap cards in the column are negated. If we control no cards, you can activate this card from your hand, so it's nice to have just in case for being able to stop opponents from doing things on turn 1 if you aren't the one that's going first. Now for our extra deck, we have 3 Utopias in here, as well as a Utopia Ray, which makes it so that Utopia is going to be your main monster that you're getting out onto the field. But the nice thing is that you can detach 1 material from this card and then you can negate an attack, and we have 3 of these because we're going to be able to get Utopia out pretty regularly. We also have a Utopia Ray that makes it so that you can Xyz summon this card by using a number 39 Utopia you control as material. You can detach 1 material from this card and it gains 500 attack until the end of this turn, and if it does, 1 monster your opponent controls loses 1,000 attack. You must have 1,000 life points or less to activate and to resolve this effect. So it's a better Utopia that lets you try and finish off your opponent if you are really low on life points. So it's nice to have just 1 in here as a tech of if you need it, but you're not going to most of the time if you're playing this deck right, because your life points won't be that low. We also have a Baguska, which is great. So one of the duels that we're going to show you guys is shows you how good Baguska is in this deck. It lets it so that once per turn during your standby phase, you can detach 1 material from this card, and if you cannot destroy it, if you cannot, you have to destroy it. So you get to have this on the field for 2 turns, and it makes it so that if this card is in attack position, this card can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Your opponent cannot target this attack position card with card effects. While this card is in face-up defense position, all face-up monsters on the field also have to go to a defense position, and all of their effects get negated if they're in defense position when this activates, which is amazing. So it negates effects, puts everything in defense mode so it can't attack, and it essentially just halts the field for up to 2 turns so that nothing can attack, nothing can activate, so that you can get yourself together if you don't have the cards that you need in order to then make your plays to destroy your opponent, which is really, really nice to have. We also have Utopia Double, which makes it so that you can detach 1 material from this card and add 1 double or nothing from your deck to your hand, which is why we won 1 of double or nothing in here. And then special summon from your extra decks 1 Utopia monster, except for number 39 Utopia Double, by using this face-up card as you control as material. And if you do, its attack becomes doubled, but it cannot attack directly. You can also use this effect of number 39 Utopia Double once per turn. So it's super good for getting out as something onto the field that you want to have get doubled its attack. It can't attack directly, but it gets to be extra stonky bean. It just won't be able to attack directly, which is okay most of the time, because you're going to be able to roll over your opponents if you use it to get out Dragon Roar, for example, and then you can just have all of your other stonky bean monsters come out and do your work for you. We have 1 Utopic Sage, which makes it so that you can detach 2 materials from this card. Special summon 1 ZW or ZS monster from your deck. Also, for the rest of this turn, you can only attack with number monsters, and you cannot Special summon from the extra deck except for Xyz monsters. You can only use the effect of ZS Utopic Sage once per turn. If a Utopia or Utopic monster you control whose original attribute is light would be destroyed by battle or card effect, except for ZS Utopic Sage, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard instead, so it acts as a shield for your other bigger, better monsters, which is really nice. We also have Utopia, the Lightning, here as well, which is one of the level 5s that we can get out by using Rank Up Magic Zexal Force on our Utopias. This lets you make it so that you cannot be used as material for an Xyz summon. If this card battles, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. So it makes it so that the opponent is prevented from doing anything to stop this from attacking, which is great. Once per chain, during damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster while this card has a Utopia Xyz monster as material, you can detach 2 materials from this card as card's attack becomes 5,000 during the damage calculation only. So it can just steamroll over something if you need it to. We also have Dragonic Utopia Ray, which makes it so that once per turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets this card, or when this card is targeted for an attack, you can equip one ZW monster from your hand or deck to this card as if it were equipped by that monster's effect. Once per turn, you can detach one material from this card, then target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of ZW cards equipped to this card and negate their effects. So it's another negation. And we have ZW Dragonic Halberd in addition to our Tornado Bringer and our Pegasus Twin Saber in our deck. So we have 3 ZW cards that we can have attached to both Dragonair and to Ray as well. We have Dragonic Halberd in here specifically for being able to be an attachment card, but it's also able to do some other stuff as well. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card and add 1 Zexal spell trap card from your deck to your hand if you really need to. You can target 1 Utopia monster you control and equip this card you control to it, and it gains 3,000 attack. When this equipped monster destroys a monster by battle, you can special summon to your field any number of ZW cards, monsters equipped to it, which is great. It's a good card to have in your deck, and it's a very useful one for just attaching to your other Utopia monsters. Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray, we have one of these in here. This one makes it so that once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card and equip 1 ZW monster from your deck or extra deck to this card as if it were equipped by that monster's effect. This effect's activation and effect cannot be negated. Once per turn, while this card is equipped with a ZW monster card, you can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effect, and have its attack, which is great because it makes it so that we can just attach our Halberd Dragon to it and give it 3,000 extra attack points, and we can make sure that we have our opponent's their attack points, and also stop their effects from being able to activate so we can just run over them. We have a Hope Harbinger, because we want to be able to have a spell negate because this card acts as a spell negate, which is really nice. Then we have our number 99 Utopia Dragonair, which makes it so that you can detach 2 materials from this card and then special summon from your extra deck 1 number monster that has a number between 1 and 100 in its name. Then you can, the turn you activate this effect, other monsters you control cannot attack directly, and you can also can't summon from the extra deck except for Xyz monsters. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can change the attack of the opponent's monster to 0, which is amazing, because when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can just say no and completely stop it from doing anything by having its attack be 0, so if it's going to be attacking into you, it's going to be doing damage to itself and destroying itself, which is great. Utopia just stops attacks from happening, but Dragonair makes it so that it essentially has to destroy itself if it chooses to attack you, which is great. And when paired with the other cards that prevent effects from happening on cards that could prevent that or destroy us or some other kind of shenanigans, it's nice to have. The last one we have in here is Appaloosa. We have Apollo simply in because we are able to get a lot of monsters out onto the field pretty regularly with our ability to just streamline cards onto the field. And because of that, we are sometimes able to get out 4 monsters that we want to use for a Link Summon. So we can do that, get her out there, and have her be in Omni Negate for things once per turn. If you guys don't know what her effect does, you can make this card lose exactly 800, and if you do, negate the activation when your opponent activates a monster effect. So she's not an Omni Negate, I misspoke. She is a monster negate, and her monster negate combined with the Harbinger's effect being a spell negate works really well with this deck. Now for the replays. So let's go ahead and get on into these here. we are going to be showing off this first match, which is actually a mirror match, because they are going to be using the same kind of deck we are, but ours is built better, so we win. Also, we go turn 1, which also makes it pretty easy for us to win, because in Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of times it comes down to who wins first, unfortunately. So we use Onomata Pickup to get Onomatopoeia. We discarded Effect Veiler because we didn't need it. We played Onomatopoeia so that we could get out of our deck and search for Onomatopoeia and Glove. I played Ascended Sage by special summoning it because of Ascended Sage's ability, and then Armed Sage's ability makes it so that when something is on the field, like Ascended Sage, it can special summon itself. So we have not done any normal summons yet this turn, we've only special summoned. With both of those cards, we're going to go ahead and get out Utopia Double, and we are going to activate Armed Sage's effect, Ascended Sage's effect, and Utopia Double's effect, all in the same turn because of the extra abilities that Armed Sage and Ascended Sage add to cards that we have in our hand. So we're going to use Utopia Double's effect to get double or nothing into our hand, and then play Dragonar, ba-bam, and get it out for 6,000. We're going to search our hand for Tornado Bringer, and also get ourselves a Rank Up Zexal Force card. We're then going to discard the 2 materials on Dragonar so he can use its ability to bring out Harbinger. That way we have a spell negate as well. We're going to use Tornado's ability to attach it to Dragonar onto the field so we have a stonk 7,300 monster and a 3,000 monster plus a spell negate. They're going to try and bait out our spell negate here, which we are not going to fall for, and we're going to stop their Onomatopoeia with our Ash Blossom. We haven't even needed to use our Harbinger yet. They're trying to do Ascended Sage and Utopia shenanigans as well, but they're not going to be able to play through their combinations like they want to. They were able to get out Utopic Onomatopoeia and get out Utopia, but it's not going to be able to do too much for them. Yeah, they're able to have Zexal Force rank up, but they know they can't play it because we would stop it, so they don't play that card, and instead they go and turn Utopia into Utopia Prime and then play a trap card instead. On our turn, we're going to go ahead and we are going to play Onomatopoeia so that we can special summon Glove and Coat onto the field. We're then going to get out Utopic Sage and use Utopic Sage's ability to get out a Armed Sage, and we were going to continue to go on through, but they realized that they were completely fucked and there was no way with the negates that we had and what we were going to be doing that they were going to be able to have anything happen, so... We were stonky as hell, and we were having a very good time with that one. So with this next battle, we are going in, and I will show you guys, I'm pretty sure this is the Baguska battle as well, what it is we're going to go through. The nice thing about this deck is that no matter what kind of thing you have in your hand, you can pretty easily make it so that you have a similar board every single time despite what you get. We're going to get rid of our Astrolopia. We're going to max C, which kind of inhibits what it is that we're able to do here because we can't special summon. I don't want to play through max C. And with all the special summons that happen in our deck, we don't really want to do that. So instead we're going to play Onomatopoeia, and we're going to special summon our Glove, and we're not going to do anything else, and we're going to play Baguska and put it in defense position to stall. So because max C came out, we're going to do that. They're actually playing a Metaloche deck, and we're going to put it into defense position. It's not going to be able to have its effect activate because it's in defense position. We drew an Armed Sage, or I'm sorry, Called by the Grave, and we're going to play our Go 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 Glove, and we're going to place down our Called by the Grave. We still have another turn with that here. It's going to try and do it again. I accidentally did Called by the Grave here when I shouldn't have, because its effect would have been negated anyway since it's in defense position, so that was a misplay on my part. I should not have played my Called by the Grave. And we would have had it, but that's okay, because we're going to put Baguska's, or Metaloche into defense position, in addition to Metaloche Angeli. Okay, they were able to get out Queen Tiramisu, but it's going to be forced into defense position and have its effects negated, so... They're going to be doing their Pot of Prosperity so that they can look through their deck and put it back in any order that they so choose. They had a lot of very good cards. They were going to pick up Metaloche Pudding Princess, I think is how you pronounce that one. I don't know, they're all really cutesy, adorable, cake sweetery names. Alright, so we're finally going to put it into attack position because it can no longer stall for us anymore because of its lack of things, lack of materials. So we're going to use our cards to put out Utopia double. They're going to use Herald of the Orange Light, and we are going to just play through that because they used Herald of the Orange Light to stop our Armed Sage's effect from happening, but not our Utopic double effect from happening. So they misplayed and should have waited until the end of that chain to do it, but they have not played enough against Utopia to know that. So that is totally fine. We then have our Dragonar, who is going to detach its 2 materials so we can get out Hope Harbinger. That way we can stop any spell cards from being sassy. We're going to play down our Double or Nothing, get rid of the Tiramisu, get rid of the other one there. And I cannot attack directly, so what I should have done was attack with Dragonar so that then Baguska could have attacked directly before it disappeared. But that was, again, on me. We're going to go ahead and we're going to stop them from doing their Metaloche ticket with our beautiful Harbinger and just absorb that. Ooh, delicious. Bring it on in. They're going to do Harpy's Feather Duster and get rid of our Infinite Impermanence and Double or Nothing, which is totally okay because we don't have a need for either of those. They were just nice to have in case. We now draw Xyz's Change Tactics, which is kind of funny because that would have been nice to have a little while ago, but whatever. We're going to go ahead and destroy their card with our Dragonar since it can't attack directly, and we're going to attack with Harbinger. Boom shakalaka boom. They're going to draw, and they're going to play very defensively again, and there's not a whole lot that they can have happen. So we're going to put down our Ether Called by the Grave, we're going to attack again, and we're going to attack them again. And I'm pretty sure that this ends it, because Metaloche shuffles itself back into the deck, but they can't do anything because they don't have enough Metaloche cards to get out one of their other Xyz Metaloche monsters. Alright, it looks like they're going into the battle phase. They end. They were able to draw a card, and we are going to just straight up destroy them with Dragonar. Boom! 4,600 straight to the face, and that is a cute, adorable Metaloche deck absolutely destroyed by our Utopic monsters. Duel! In this last duel, we are going to be doing basically the same thing. So we're going to play Onomatopoeia to get out Coat and Glove again onto the field. We're then going to get out Utopic Sage so that we can use Utopic Sage's ability to discard its 2 materials and get out Ascended Sage. That way we can have Ascended Sage and Coat combined together to make Utopia double, because we always want to have some Sage as a material for Utopia double so we can have its extra effect of getting the ZW cards from our deck into our hand. So it's going to use its ability to have Double or Nothing, and then it's going to turn into Dragonar, which we are going to have be leveled up. We then get the Zexal rank up, which we're going to use to turn our Sage, who doesn't have a material anymore, into Utopia Leo Ray! And then we put Tornado Bringer on the top of our deck. We're then going to play Go 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 Go, or Go 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 Glove. We're going to get out our regular Utopia. And then we're going to use Ray's ability to detach a material and get a ZW card out and attach it to it, which is exactly what we did with our Pegasus Twin Saber. We're then going to use Dragonar's ability to get out Hope Harbinger onto the field. And that's going to be our end board for now on turn 1. We have a Spell Negate, we have a Battle Negate, we have a Stonk 6,000 and 3,500 monster. Now they're going to try and use Tenyi Spirit here, and we are going to use Ray's ability to once per turn. We can choose one effect monster and have its effect negated, and then its attack is also halved. So that's what we were doing. So it have a monster effect negate, but they're going to play through that. And unfortunately, they bounce our Harbinger back into our deck, and they're going to get out Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign, which makes our attacks lower. Does 1,200 damage to us, and they have a pretty good combo going on here with their Sword Soul deck Tenyi shenanigans. But we're going to use ZW's ability to prevent anything from happening here, and I'm going to go ahead and use Utopia's ability to prevent it from attacking me. What I should have done was I accidentally misclicked here. I was speed clicking. And I should not have used Utopia's ability to stop that from happening when I could have just used Dragonar's ability to make its attack 0, and then when it was attacking me, it would have destroyed itself, which is what I should have done. But I misplayed there and kind of fucked myself over. But that's okay, because they're trying to bring everything else back out. it's back onto the field now that they have another monster here, but we're gonna push through this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use Ray's ability to get rid of this Shaman of the 10 Ys effect and have its attack. We're then gonna attack them and get rid of that card. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Destroy their board. And end the phase. Boom, shakalaka, boom. Now it's gonna be their turn. They don't have their Sovereign Sword Soul anymore. They don't have their Shaman of the 10-Y. And they don't have anything that they can do because they've already extended and their hand is very thin, and that's going to cause them to surrender. So this deck is amazing. It's very, very fun, and I highly recommend it to all of you guys. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you coming on in and watching this video. Hopefully this helps you make your own awesome Utopia deck and just have fun with it. If you have a different way that you like to play Utopia, let me know in the comments down below because there's a lot of different takes that you can do on Utopia, and I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. But without taking up any more of y'all's time, I will go ahead and let you beautiful people go. Goodbye, my lovelies.